we're going to talk about New York football. New York football hasn't been good in a long time. The Giants have been a joke of a franchise since 2016, I will say. They haven't had a record above 500 since then. And the Jets, since 2010, we haven't made the playoffs. But this segment is about which New York team, Jets or Giants, have the brighter future going forward. And I'll start with you, Joe, because I know there's no bias in your answer.
It's funny. My first note is this is no bias. Real quick though, both of these organizations are kind of dumpster fires right now, right? I'm gonna say the Jets just because I think they're ahead of the Giants right now, right? The Jets.
In what sense? In the rebuild process?
Yes, the Jets have admitted they're in a rebuild already, right? This is year one of the rebuild. I guess really year two since Joe Douglas has come along, but year one we have the new head coach, new quarterback. I look at the Giants, they're just a little bit behind because we know they're going to be firing Gettleman at the end of the season. We've already heard reports that Joe Judge is going to be returning for next season. There's not many times where I see you bring in a new GM and he doesn't want his own head coach. So you're going to have to find a GM. You might be a little bit limited now because you need to find a GM who wants to keep Joe Judge on board. I think they're going to be, this time next year, they're going to be firing Joe Judge. They're going to be looking for a new head coach. They're going to be looking for a new quarterback next year. So I just think they're a little bit behind in terms of their rebuild progress. I also don't think Daniel Jones has shown really anything in these 3 years to prove he could be a franchise quarterback.
Anything?
No, bro. I'm over it. He gets hurt. He hasn't been that good. What has he really shown that you think he could be a franchise quarterback? Now, I'm not sold on Zach, but I have a lot more faith in Zach being a franchise quarterback than Daniel Jones at this point. I don't love the contract to Kenny G. They have an issue with Saquon Barkley. What are they going to do with him? And defensively, offensively, that's one thing. Defensively, they need help just about everywhere. They probably have the worst linebacking core in the NFL. James Bradbury has regressed mightily this season. Last year, he was really good. This year, he's the 62nd ranked corner in coverage. I still think edge is a need for them. They don't really have many pass rushers. Azeez Ojulari has had a bit of a disappointing rookie season. He's still young, so I'm not good. Out on him.
For a second-round pick, he's been good.
But I feel like those are a little misleading because not that Devonta Smith is a superstar right now in the NFL. He clamped him. Amari Cooper, he held him for 2 catches, clamped him. Terry McLaurin, the first time he ate him, second time, have they? I'm pretty sure
he hasn't been
man to
shadowing.
man. Yes, correct. He hasn't been
because last year he was, and he was playing really well. This year he's having a bit of a down year. But they do have 2 potential top 10 picks. They have their own first round pick, which is definitely gonna be top 10, and Chicago's is probably also going to be top 10. Andrew Thomas, on the bright side though, Andrew Thomas is progressing. He's looking like
glad to share a name with him.
Yeah. First half of last year he looked bad. Second half he got a lot better. This year he's even improving on that. He's ranked as the 9th best pass blocking left tackle or tackle in general in the NFL, which is great. Xavier McKinney.
The Jets draft him.
Yeah. Xavier McKinney has also looked really good in his rookie season. And looks like probably the starting safety for the future, which the Jets definitely don't have. And their interior defensive line is strong with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence. So it's not all bad for the New York Giants. I just think the Jets just have a little bit more good young players with potential to be long-term starting players on their roster than the Giants do right now. It starts with Zach Wilson. Rookie quarterback, has shown flashes this year that he could be a potential franchise quarterback for them. The Giants don't have that on their roster. The Jets have AVT and Becton, who, God willing, Becton could hopefully come back. Just let me see you on the field, show you can healthy. It was a weird injury he got rolled up on with his knee. That's just something to really, it's hard to stop that from ever happening. But I think their left side of their offensive line is going to be set for years to come. Elijah Moore has shown that he could be a potential wide receiver 1. Corey Davis, don't love the contract, but I'm okay with it. I think he's better than Kenny Golladay. I think he'd be a really good wide receiver 2. Michael Carter, steal in the 4th round, in my opinion. Bryce Hall, steal in the 5th round, in my opinion. And I think LaFleur, at least, he's had his moments here and there. He's still really young, too. He's in his low 30s, he might be 32 years old. He's super young, going to be developing with this team as well. The defense, like the Giants, is not pretty. They need help just about everywhere outside of Quentin Williams and Bryce Hall. Michael Carter's had some moments here and there. Marcus May's a free agent. So I think the
Mosley's
Jets...
been pretty good for you guys also.
Mosley's had his moments. He can't cover as much as he once was able to.
Player.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I wish I see that on the field.
He's been okay.
No, he hasn't been that good.
He hasn't been that good.
No,
but
he's a leader, though.
The Jets also have 2 potential top 10 picks as well. There's Seahawks might be a little bit out. We'll see where that ends up. But I think both teams, I think the Jets are in the right direction. I've been a big fan of Joe Douglas really since year 1. Didn't have a great draft the first year, but he had a couple guys with Becton and Bryce Hall. This year, the draft class has been much better. I have faith in the GM. I think at least I have some faith in Zach Wilson that he could be the guy. Daniel Jones is not. And at the end of the day, if you don't have the quarterback, you don't have the head coach, you don't have the GM, you're in a really rough spot.
Listen, Joe Douglas missed in the 2020 draft
On like 70% of his picks.
Yeah, the only two ones are Makai and Bryce Hall that he nailed. That's it.
Yeah.
He missed on basically all of them. He's like John Isdick.
He made it up for it in this draft.
Okay, we'll see. The Jets have two.
No, he definitely hit this draft.
Yeah, bro. Like, what? Where did he miss on?
The only
Jamian Sherwood.
What round? 5?
Hazma Nazardine.
I don't. If you miss on 5th and 6th round picks, okay.
Those are the money rounds right there.
Those are
where you find the hidden gems.
Yeah, but you need to hit on. We're so bad. We need to hit on the rounds 1, 2, and 3 first. I don't care. Like, we'll worry about 5 and 6 later.
Everything, man.
Obviously,
I
but
feel
it's
like
not going to happen.
The one that people are questioning the most is your first round pick right now.
It is. Easily, our first 4 picks. Zach is the biggest
media,
question.
Not I'm just saying.
ABC's looked really good. Elijah's looked really good. Michael Carter's looked really good.
Let's talk about the Jets and Giants right here. I don't want to get back with Joe Douglas, man. You know how I feel about. You know how I feel about that.
That's your boy.
Yes,
he's been doing his thing.
I've been on the Joe Douglas right for a minute.
One of the better trades in recent memory.
Arguably the best trade in Jets history.
Okay, look, the Jets. We got 2 first rounders in 2022 this upcoming draft, 2 second rounders, 1 third, and 4 fourth rounders. So we're in pretty good shape when it comes to the draft. But the Giants are in good shape too. They have 2 first rounders, 1 second, 3 third rounders, and 2 fourth rounders. They're in good shape. When I look at the Jets' young core, I look at Zach, I look at Mike Carter, I look at Elijah Moore, AVT, who I call ADT, Mekhi Becton, Quinnen Williams, Franklin Myers, who we gave a deal and he disappeared, Bryce Hall, Brandon Echols, Michael Carter II. But the Giants have equally just as good as a young core, but they have guys who are proven, right? Is Kadarius Toney better than Elijah Moore? I think he is.
I'm out. No, I'll take Elijah.
I think
Tony's more explosive.
I'll take Elijah.
Regardless, it's a toss-up in my opinion.
Man, that is tough.
Andrew Thomas or Mekhi Becton. That's a toss-up.
Can't stay healthy, man.
That's a toss-up. Andrew Thomas, because he can stay healthy.
Correct.
I'd pick him. Dexter Lawrence. I mean, this guy is as good as Franklin Myers. He's not as good as Quinnen, but Dexter Lawrence is really good. Azeez Ojulari. I mean, Azeez has had a pretty solid rookie season. He hasn't been exceptional, but he's had a solid one.
Right.
And Xavier McKinney. I'm not even mentioning guys who are part of their team for longer, like Leonard Williams is going to be there. They're getting Blake Martinez back next year. James Bradbury's still there. I mean, this Giants...
Jabril, God bless.
Jabril's still there. Then you look at their offense. I mean, you're so low on Kenny Galladay. To say that Corey Davis is better than him, I'm disgusted right now with you.
Kenny Galladay's not that good.
I'm disgusted with you right now saying Corey Davis is better than Kenny Galladay.
You're wiling.
What is Kenny Galladay? I mean, I know Corey Davis hasn't done much either, but...
Corey Davis is a first-round bust.
Okay.
Whoa.
He was a 5th pick in the draft.
Okay, yes.
But
he's a bust for what he should be. But
I don't care if he was a first-round pick.
So Sammy Watkins a bust?
Bro, for where he was drafted, absolutely.
This is year 5 for Corey Davis. I don't care if he was drafted in the first round.
Williams is trending that way, but he started trending
because who's been better? I mean, I guess you got to say.
I'm just saying, Kenny G is better than Corey Davis. Let's stop it. Corey Davis has not had 1,000-yard season yet, bro.
What did he do last year though?
984.
Give him a break.
Come on, Kenny G has 2.
I understand, but
and Kenny G did it in 2019 with 13 games. So Kenny G's better.
Detroit.
Okay, then you got
2019 is 3 years.
They have more weapons than the Jets. They have but even though Evan Ingram has been disappointing, they have better tight end than us. They just have more talent. They are a more complete team with more veterans, and they have a good combination of young players. I have to say the Giants, I think they're really just a quarterback away from being in the playoffs. That's just it. Daniel Jones is that guy who he's holding them back, but they're really just a quarterback away from being in the playoffs.
See, I can't agree with that sentiment that Daniel Jones the one they have.
What right, like Matt Stafford away? Sure.
All right, I'll say this.
But like Jimmy G away, no.
I'll say
Jimmy G away, they're fighting for that last wild card spot.
Their offensive line is still not good. Regardless of what Andrew Thomas is, when he's in and out of the lineup, the difference is major for sure. But outside of Andrew Thomas, Nate Soldier, one of the worst contracts in Giants history, probably. He's not been that good. Will Hernandez, a dude. Billy Price, Matt Skura. These guys are not good. This O-line's terrible, particularly in run blocking.
You're right.
Saquon Barkley cannot do anything out of the backfield. Daniel Jones, early in the season, when Tony was in, even though they weren't incorporating him, Sterling Shepard was in, Kenny Galladay was in, Saquon Barkley was healthy. Daniel Jones showed flashes of being a franchise guy. Then you see Sterling Shepard go out, who was his number one receiver at the time. Kenny G goes out. Tony in and out of the lineup. Saquon, ankle injury. Andrew Thomas out of the lineup.
But
and like he mentioned,
DJ hasn't been consistent.
And he had all that.
I'm not saying
the
you're
Giants had all
wrong.
that and started off 1-6.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but how many games were they in that they were very close? At that time, you could have argued that they were the best, worst team at that time.
Yeah, they lost by 2 touchdowns to y'all, a point to Washington, a field goal to Atlanta.
They got smacked to us. We smacked them.
They beat New Orleans in overtime, they got killed by Dallas, they got killed by the Rams.
Early in the season.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
To the Saints was a very good game.
They won in overtime, yes.
Washington, they should have won. They were offsides.
Yeah, that was a rough loss, definitely.
And that really makes... The Giants have been historically known for early in the season being very competitive, them not getting the benefit of the doubt in some situations, and it taking a toll for the entirety of the season. My concern and why this question is tough for me is because I need to see who the Giants bring in as their GM. Do I agree with what you're saying for sure? I look at the talent on both rosters. I lean Giants. I just think they have a little bit more firepower than you guys. But right now, I'm giving you guys on the managerial aspect.
I will say this. The Jets are a splash free agency away, which is very possible in this free agency period.
Projected $50 million. The Giants projected $4 million cap.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
We're one splash free agency away from having a brighter future.
Soldier, Kenny Galladay. That's so much
we
bread.
signed Corey Davis to a big contract.
How much was that?
It wasn't as much as Kenny G.
I thought it was
wasn't,
like 50.
but it was, yeah.
That's not horrible.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. I think in free agency, if we nail free agency, we'll be fine. And look, this is my dream offense for the Jets next year.
Please don't say who I think you're going to say.
Zach Wilson, Mike Carter, Corey Davis, Michael Gallup, Elijah Moore,
thank God.
Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker.
Tape.
I want to draft Tyler Linderbaum, the center.
Yep.
He's the best graded interior offensive lineman in the draft. I want to draft him. Sign Brandon Scherf and then start Morgan Moses or George Fant at right tackle. If we do this, yeah, we're back. And if maybe with our second round pick, maybe Drake London falls because of his injury. 6'5", he would fit so beautifully with Zach.
And also, or possibly George Pickens, someone who tore his ACL, but coming into this class out of Georgia was very highly touted.
We are a splash free agency away from having a brighter future. You want to know why?
The defense
though?
would still suck.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just. I'm fine with that. We'll fix the defense. Let's get this offense right with Zach. The biggest reason, though, why we couldn't have a brighter future after this offseason is because we got that man wearing number 2. We got Zach, the main man, Wilson. But Zach, I know you're not sold on him. Don't make that face.
I'm not, but I'm much more sold on him than Daniel Jones. I've been on record. Daniel Jones is not the guy for a while now.
I am not shy about who I think Zach Wilson is going to be. I think Zach Wilson is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL for sure one day.
I pray you're right.
Whether it's with the Jets, I'm not sure, but he's going to be one of those top guys, and everybody's going to see it. I know Jets fans have looked at this season and they're not hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Don't get me wrong. I'm hopeful as hell.
I know Zach is going to be
hopeful too many times.
I know Zach is
How
going to be
many
a guy.
off seasons have I said to you, yo, Jets could make, they got a decent roster. Not these last couple of years, unfortunately.
I was going to say, it's been a while.
We've seen it. Well, you guys did have a point in time where going into that season where Sam Darnold missed the 4 games with mono, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That really could have been the difference between you not making the playoffs and you making the playoffs. You guys have had some upper managerial, I wouldn't say.
McCaggan was terrible. Idzik was terrible.
Correct.
Gase was terrible.
Our GMs have not been good. I'll say this for the
Joe
Giants.
Douglas is actually putting you guys in a way better situation.
I'll say this for the Giants. They got to just draft Evan Neal or Ikem Ekwonu.
One of the tackles.
They got to draft one of these guys, and I think that they'll have a pretty good offseason. But these teams are very similar in terms of where their trajectory is going. But the Jets, because they have more money and the same amount of draft capital, we can go further.